Welcome to the Tesla Economist. Please hit the thumbs up and remember to subscribe. You can also follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon. The Giga Shanghai drone pilot Wu Hua has recently reported that he believes Tesla are now producing 1,000 Model Ys a day in Shanghai. This was after the Shanghai Model Y factory received a 4-day overhaul, moving into Phase 2 production. Now, just bear in mind, these are only rumours and almost sound too good to be true. But I wanted to run through what it would mean for Tesla if it turns out to be true, as I think the consequential impact would be huge, and I thought it sensible to go through before it's confirmed. To give you some comparison, we've only seen the Model 3 factory reach about 25,000 in its best months, which is only about 800 units a day. We're talking about 25% more Model Ys than Model 3s in a factory that was supposedly 20% smaller capacity than Model 3. In July, Shanghai Model Y production was around 14,000 units, so this is more than double production from the previous and highest month. So it does seem somewhat far-fetched, and maybe we shouldn't get our hopes up too much. But if you recall, we were told that the rear die casting alone removed 300 robots from the manufacturing process, which is absolutely crazy. Therefore, the Model Y factory does require less space than the Model 3 to produce the same amount of units. In other words, Model 3 Shanghai initially had a alleged capacity of 250,000 units a year, and Model Y 200,000 units, as the factory was smaller. And 1,000 Model Ys is 25% more output than 800 Model 3s a day, from 20% less supposed capacity. Is this an indication of just how much more efficient Model Y production is over Model 3? In case you were wondering, that is 56% more output per alleged capacity, or possibly floor space, for the Model Y, when compared to the Model 3. And sure, they're using gigapresses to achieve some of this, but think about how much more advanced the new Berlin and Texas factories will be with front and rear die casts, and then when they reach 4680 structural battery packs. I would say that will reduce floor space significantly, along with Berlin's revolutionary new paint processes too, and anything else that we're not even aware of at this stage. These new factories are huge, but if Tesla can improve their output per squared foot by that much too, then it's not just the size that matters. I'm starting to think Berlin should have a capacity of 2 million, and Texas might be closer to 4 million, due to it being multi-story. If that is true, then that's 7 times Tesla's existing capacity, except the cars to come out of these new factories will have significantly higher profit margins. These are not my actual projections. I just like to run through what could be possible on an optimistic level, I guess because I just find it exciting really. But if I'm even half wrong, then we still have 4 times capacity. And if Tesla don't even reach that level until 2025, then it's still likely to have tripled the stock price or so. And this is just their auto business. If we triple our Tesla investments by 2025, then I'd still be very happy. It's just there are indicators that point to possibilities of Tesla achieving a lot more than that. Tripling the stock price isn't meant as a worst case scenario here either. It's just one of many possibilities. I guess the point I'm trying to make is there is a very strong chance Tesla's stock price would have at least doubled by 2025, and I'm sure barely any of you would disagree with that. And even if that was all we were expecting, it would still be enough of a reason to hold on to your shares. But it's also exciting to explore the other potential the company has too. Anyway, if Model Y Shanghai is at this production level, then it would likely increase my delivery estimates for the year from around 900,000 to over 950,000. But how is this even possible to ramp up so quickly? Well, for starters, Phase 2 has been complete at Shanghai, and being implemented could have increased production. Supposedly there was even a 4-day factory downtime in moving processes over. But in addition to that, Tesla have recently started the Model Y standard range in China. Not only that, they were able to launch them using CATL's LFP batteries, and still reach a sufficient range. But I believe that these are a far more abundant battery available to Tesla when compared to sourcing more 2170 batteries from LG Energy, but also significantly cheaper due to having iron cathodes instead of nickel and cobalt. Not only that, the standard range are just rear-wheel drive and not four-wheel drive, which would require less components such as fewer drivetrains, which we also heard was creating shortages and limiting production. And the fact that these are made in China models and now with LFP batteries means the profit margins are going to be that much better again too. I'm not sure Fremont will have this same advantage. I believe for reasons I have mentioned, this will only apply to Model Y in Shanghai. So reduced components required, less battery constrained, and Phase 2 implemented. All of this should mean that Tesla can further ramp up Model Y production. But to 1,000 a day, that is a lot, especially when it's over double the previous month. My previous estimate was that the Model Y factory would hit a run rate of around 250,000 units a year by the end of 2021, but 1,000 a day would mean we're already at an annualized rate of 360,000 after barely even running for half a year. Of course, that doesn't include downtime, but it's good enough for indicative purposes. What if that means Tesla could hit capacity for Berlin sometime next year too? We do wonder how much Tesla may be sandbagging, and it's easy enough to plug various numbers in any Tesla forecasts and reach enormous profits and crazy stock prices. I've said in the past that I'm already leaped out, and yet I bought more leaps after that, and often think I'm finished with my Tesla investments. But then Tesla will announce more mind-blowing developments, and then the stock price eventually drops, and I simply can't help myself. But if this could be true, then I feel like the quote from Michael Corleone in The Godfather is apt. Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. I think even if Tesla aren't at 1,000 Model Y units a day, it still looks promising. It looks like they aren't far off 500 a day in July anyway. So perhaps even if this estimate is off by just a couple of hundred, and it's more like 800 a day, then that still comes to nearly 25,000 a month, or 300,000 a year, which is possibly more believable as it's the same level as Model 3 achieved without any gigapresses. And that is still a really good level of production, more than I previously estimated for them to hit by the end of the year, and maybe there is still more ramping to come. Anyway, I just wanted to explore how big a deal it actually means to Tesla if it turns out to be real. But like I said, it does feel a little too good to be true. But if it does turn out to be true, then we can at least prepare for it, as we know the potential impact it might have. As it is such a big deal, I'm talking to some of the most credible sources I have in regards to this matter, and seeing what I can figure out with them too. I think this might give the word investigating a new meaning. And as it's such an important factor, I will continue to investigate it and report if I do come across anything more concrete. And this may be reaching a bit, but Elon has just said that Tesla China rocks in a reply to a tweet about how Shanghai Model Y has begun mass production. I don't usually like to just speculate on every rumour that pops up, but this one does hold some credibility in areas, and if it's true, the impact it could have on Tesla is almost game-changing. So I felt like it was at least worth exploring. We're talking about a previous claimed capacity from 200,000 to 360,000, nearly twice as much. And who says Tesla even finished ramping up that factory? In addition to that, we've explored some reasons why it could be true and why we saw such a big jump from the previous month. It sounds like the Shanghai factories are going to be the main export hub for now, even exporting to Singapore now too, due to right-hand drive availability. And the US likely using the production there from their domestic demand, as there is plenty there and considerably more when the tax credit is introduced. Thanks for listening. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon.